Welcome back to the Archibald Shop. My name's Rod, and this episode is number 4 in building Scout. And in this episode, we're going to cover the main seating area, or the main deck that's inside the boat, where sailors and rowers would sit and all. Now, in a previous episode, I did sort of touch on the fact that there was a foam deck, but we're going on a different plan with that. I will show you some of the work that was done on the foam deck, and then switching over to something else. So let's get to it. Well, it's another day in the shop. The epoxy is cured on the foam, which is just the fairing compound filler, brown. I'm now just going to give this whole thing a heck of a sand, and then I'm going to lay down some glass. So it's actually a pretty rough surface, and I'm not really quite sure why that is. My theory is that the liquid, the resin, got sucked right out of the mix into the foam, because this is like 60 grit sandpaper. I mean, it's probably going to be fairly soft to sand. I'm going to see how easy that is, and I may have to get the power sander out. It may not look super smooth in the camera, but it's pretty smooth, and really all I'm trying to make sure is you lay glass out that it's not going to get caught on little nubbly bits. But is it glued down to the plastic or whatever? Because I can still see there was those pinholes here, one where there was a little chip out in the finger joint. Where the epoxy went, I don't know, but it didn't, I mean, it went right through. I can feel it underneath. I'm not going to flip it over, it's too fragile. But well, time to lay out some glass. Now here's where question, regarding glass layout. If one was to buy this full kit, you would get all the glass included. But since I have glass, I didn't purchase, or the customer didn't need to purchase glass kit. It doesn't actually say in the manual what thickness or weight of fiberglass is on here. But I know from the kit that they primarily supply 4 ounce. So that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to get a piece of glass, I'm going to lay it out here and saturate it. Alright, I'm going to leave that, come back in maybe 30 minutes and make sure it's not doing whatever, bad things, bubbling or whatever. So this large piece here is the foam that is fiberglass. I've got a fiberglass on one side. I didn't end up doing the second side because it was customer's decision as to whether we were going to use this piece or not. He has decided that he is not going to use it. So what's on top here is the 4mm ply piece that this would sit on, although I have it on top of it right now. I think we have it upside down. So this would be the underside. And when it's flipped over, the centerboard box, which is inside the bulkheads, will be on the starboard side. So I've just kind of laid it down here to get a sense of where bulkheads would be, because I can't get, this whole thing out of the one sheet of plywood. But what I'm trying to see if I can do is if we have, there's a puzzle joint in here in the foam, but I'm thinking that we just have a straight joint here with a backing block, piece of plywood glued onto underneath it inside the bulkhead. But I can't have that backing block where the bulkhead will be. So that's starboard and this is port. So this would fit in here underneath the bottom of the hull. So the bulkhead fitting into the hull is fitting into there. So that's fitting into there. Bulkhead is fitting into here. on the inside. If I shift the foam down and we actually put the butt joint in here, because I think I can get those two pieces out of the center area here. I mean, the plywood's not that expensive. This is a Hydrotech marine ply. 6 mils are going to go with fiberglass on either side, 4-ounce fiberglass. But if I do that, that's going to sit into there, vertical, and then this will sit in here like so. I think we could do a butt joint somewhere in here. That means on either side of the center here, I need a piece to be, let's go 32 inches long and 2 of them. Do I have 64 in here? Not quite. This whole thing is on the side. That's a good sign, and it's, well, we can steal a bit off of the bow end there. We're at 57. I think what I need to do, and we can probably come back a bit, because there's going to be a bulkhead right here, so it'd be pretty strong. I will probably come back to there. Now I need 2 pieces to be 29 and a 20, I'll say 30. Can I get 60 out of this? It's so close. And I don't think we're going to need that much of a backing block in here, maybe 2.5 inches wide, spanning the 2 pieces. It's unfortunate because I can do it. It's just because I have another 1.5 inches on the plywood itself, but that ends up exactly where the bulkhead is going to be, isn't it? Oh, that's where that piece goes in. Actually, I think we can do it. So, we are just going to cut this out right to the plywood edge there, and then I only need, from what's left, 26, and this is 56. So I'm going to do it. Okay, so that is the plan. So the first thing I need to do actually is trim up the outside of this so that I can trace it out, cutting the glass off, sanding down a bit, so that I can trace this all out, including where the hatches go, and then lining it all up on the plywood, and then I'll probably roughly cut it out with a jigsaw and clean it up to the line. Can't really feed that big sucker through the bandsaw. Well, in trying to turn that foam piece over, it actually broke. I mean, it was so flimsy, and there's no real way of sort of holding it easily by one person. I mean, 2 people, even difficult with that. But just because it started to flex and it just cracked at the most vulnerable spots. But thankfully we're really not using it anyways, and I'm going to tack it back together so that it can still be used as a pattern. Now if it had been fiberglass on both sides, I'm pretty sure that that would not have happened. But there was no point in fiberglassing the second side because we weren't using it anyways. Alright, I think that's all cleaned up enough. So 1, it's not dangerous, and 2, I can trace it out, but I'm just going to clean up all the dust and whatever here. Bits off the plywood. And then think we're going to see if I can tack these pieces back together. Not that I have to really lift it or move it anymore once it's been traced. Now as far as these holes go, I mean, I have to clean them up as best as possible, but that, you know, I can actually undersize that hole and then trim it out so that the hatch will fit in. Piece of wax paper under there before I go to the table. Okay, will I need to flip this over again? Not sure. Shouldn't have to, but if I don't want it breaking again in the same spot or in a new spot, I'm wondering if I could tack on like a 2x2 or something down here to, come on, stiffen it up. I want to hold it down while I'm tracing. Stays nice and flat. So these two pieces here that are extending beyond the 8-foot sheet of plywood, I can cut this line using that square edge for one of them at least, and then on the next piece, so they'll basically fit two in there. Straight edge right across there. Actually, I'll go this side, I can weigh it down. My knife will follow that mark. Alright, time to remove all the weights. Well, these little cross pieces across the break didn't really do very well. I mean, I didn't even really try to pick it up because I'm pretty sure they would have just come off. Part of the reason was the surface is a bit too smooth for hot glue to stick to, so I was able to just peel them right off. So I sanded the surface a bit and put a longer stick along there. And then I'm hoping that at least now I can at least lift this up without it completely coming apart. Even though I already have the pattern traced down here, but remember I'm going to try and see if I can cut outside the line and route trim. So now that I got these, I cut these pieces off and we can get both of them here. I can line this right up with the flush edge down here and trace it out. And then I don't want to write on there, so I'm just going to take a piece of tape, stick it on there, and that is starboard. With the full deck cut out, I didn't really show that all on the video because that's just a lot of cutting, but suffice it to say, pretty straightforward, nice clean little fine-tooth blade. I mean, we get a little bit of tear out. I'm just cleaning off all the dust here now because I want to get into epoxy coating this. I'm really not sure. I mean, this is 6mm ply. I don't really think that I need to fiberglass this. So I can start with just putting a couple of coats of epoxy on both sides. and we'll just see how stiff it is after that. I mean, when it goes in, if I put it into the boat, you know, just temporarily fitting it in, and I think that it's not supported enough with bulkheads here and there. The main place that probably is going to be, I'm guessing in this area here actually, but then it'll have the vertical support of the bulkhead wall, so I think it's going to be pretty good. Now I might just clean this up a little bit with my block plane. I've got a line in there, but I think I might actually wait until it's all epoxy coated, and then I'm not going to tear out any more of the plywood because it'll be kind of be sealed. Now it does need a bit of a sand because I've got a little bit of CA glue there and maybe some fingerprints elsewhere. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to attach these two pieces, and now I can put this tape onto the back side, which you may not see in the camera there, but the back side of this plywood is nowhere near as nice as the front side. So maybe that's Hypertech, I don't know, because we get into Marantee and Jatobi, if I pronounced that correctly. You know, both sides tend to be quite nice, as in the rest of the planking, but this Aquatech, although it is, you know, good quality marine ply and is rated 1088 BS 1088, it doesn't seem to have both sides being quite nice. So I'm going to do the front side first, just in case epoxy drips around to the back side, who cares. And I think I'll even cut out the centerboards, or the centerboard box slot and the oval or the circles for the hatches after it's epoxy coated, because again, the epoxy will seal it up and prevent any more tear out, even though the hatch will overlap on there, and there is a mass partner kind of disc that goes on the fore end there. And I don't think I need to bore you with sanding, so we'll just catch up once we get this epoxy coated. I now have both sides of the main deck coated in epoxy, 2 coats. I'm letting it kind of cure here today, and then I can start to put it aside. There's some other pieces that have to be made or epoxy coated and assembled, and then I can finally get to putting this boat together. So that's going to finish this episode. As always, thank you very much for watching, and do consider becoming a subscriber, or at least give me a thumbs up. See you next time.